Gentlemen, it's time once again to discuss things.
Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. How's it going, Bill and Milan?
I'm
going.
good.
It's going.
Yeah,
going
smart-ass
somewhere.
responses.
Going
Okay,
somewhere.
well, we are on a review topic this week, and this review comes as a request from Blue Dragon 5, and I thought it'd be a great one to do, since we'll all have something really interesting to say, maybe. And, well,
One of us is questionable here.
Yeah, not to toot my own horn or anything, but to totally toot my own horn. I love that line. That's such a good joke. We're going to be reviewing the Robocop films today, and as I closed out last week's episode with a joke, Bill is obviously going to be interested to talk about, the monstery, aspects of it. I can comment on the social commentary, the political philosophies at work in it, and Milan can talk about being an ugly, freakish mass that nobody can ever love.
Thanks
Now,
for
Milan,
being
you
a
had a
douche.
week. You had a week to come up with a comeback. What is it?
You are a douche.
That is so weak! Oh my god, you bitch!
That's not a comeback, that's just a matter of fact. You are a douche.
It's in the
And you're
dictionary.
a bitch. You can't even. You're a stupid bitch. You can't even come up with a comeback. I give you a week. You could have planned it out. You could have set up something awesome, and you suck balls.
You're just proving me right.
You didn't need to. This is something we all knew.
Ian Harrington, professional asshole. I should get up these cards.
And then he smiles at the camera.
And there's a little gleam off his teeth, and he gives the thumbs up.
And then there's a little
alright.
phone number. If you want to have your mind just and soul ripped out by Ian, just trampled on, crushed like the brain at the end of Robocop 2, call Ian Harrington.
Spoiler alert.
I figured that was a given.
Well,
We gotta do a non-spoiler video just once.
Well,
No,
that's
we
it.
are spoiling the Robocop trilogy. I will
No,
not
that.
have.
we
This is
are.
it. I'm just saying,
We
just
are.
once. We gotta do a non-spoiler video.
Oh no, sure, but I want to spoil the shit out of these things.
We will. Don't worry, Bill. We shall.
Alright, well, on that note, let's get started. Robocop 1 came out in what, 87?
86.
87, yes.
Okay, very interesting movie. It's probably my favorite of the three, just because, and not to skip right to the end, but to skip right to the end, just because it has the most badass ending of all time. He shoots the guy in the face, falls out the window, and then the boss is like, pretty good shooting. What's your name, son? Murphy, sir. Credits.
Dun, 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 dun,
Badass!
And also, let me just. This
Like,
would be a
what
good point
I
to bring
like
this up.
so much about that, what I like so much about that is easily there were like 15 minutes left of that movie to wrap up all the loose ends.
But no, it's just like dun 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 dun.
The ultimate 80s action movie ending. The guy
Yeah.
falls out of a tall tower and gets shot in the face.
And let me just say this now. Two things actually. One, I think this is potentially one of the top 5 greatest 80s action movies behind films like Terminator and Die Hard. And two, I gotta look up this guy's name now. Basil Poledouris's music score. Holy shit.
Oh, it's a really good theme, definitely.
It is amazing. I am just like I scream fuck yeah whenever I was just pumped. And I have another point on that later when we get to 2 and 3. I just wanted to establish that now. I love the music.
Well, my point, since we're on music real quick, but yeah, the music's really what saved some of the scenes in 3 for me.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I'm like, the one thing I was missing in 2 was Poledouris's music score, and then in 3 it's like, even though it's a piece of shit, we've got that.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. But the thing that really gets me about the first one is just how much it reminds me of Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, the actual graphic novel, visually, and it just reminds me so much of Frank Miller, but in a good way.
Yeah, well, that's the interesting thing is I didn't realize this until I'd watched it, but 2 and 3 were written by Miller. And obviously
Or
the first one is
screenplays.
heavily inspired
And
by the
absolutely massacred in the post-production.
Yeah, we'll get to that with 2 and 3.
Yeah, oh my god.
But the first film, I do agree, it is a visual, just wealth of visual gold.
Yeah.
The film
Yeah,
is just
more of a-
gorgeous.
I love the opening with the news broadcast. I thought that was really cool.
And I like
And
how
I
they
love the
carried
tease
over.
that, like, you think the cop at the beginning is gonna be the one that they turn into Robocop. If you're someone like me that's never seen these before. But let me clarify that. I've never sat down and watched any of the movies all the way through until this past week. I'd seen clips from a couple times, you know, surfing through, but I've never been interested enough to actually sit down and watch them. And I'm glad I did. I found them fun. They're not the greatest movies ever, but it's an enjoyable set of movies. I did not mind watching them. And yes, that includes 3. I did not mind watching 3.
We'll get
Like,
to 3. But
Well,
I
here's
just
the
wanted
thing is, I don't
There's
think
not-
we recorded it. We didn't record it, but after we cut off last week, Bill and Milan started talking about Robocop, and they're like, "Oh my god, 3 is gonna be so hard to watch." Blah blah blah. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've never seen it, but I'm gonna make this point a little more generally. Whenever I go into a movie expecting it to be really bad, I always find that I enjoy it. It's such a weird thing. It's like, it's that expectations. When I go into something like the Wonder Woman pilot, I went into that thinking, okay, there's no way in hell this is going to be the worst thing I ever watch. And I watched it and I quite enjoyed it. I mean, you guys can look at my review of that. I found it very enjoyable and I recommended it, and I even, you know, helped provide a download link for it. You can't download it anymore because Mega Upload got taken down. But anyway, I helped spread that thing around, and I enjoyed it. I found that enjoyable. And the same thing with 3. I know it's not a good movie. It's not critically good, but I still enjoyed it personally.
It's a fun mid-early 90s, 80s nostalgia, you know.
No, it stinks of the 90s in every way, shape, and form.
Yes,
and
it
that's
does.
my biggest problem with it, because it doesn't feel like a Robocop movie, because it, like, I'll get to it later, but just to, as Ian said, say it generally, I think it takes what the first 2 movies did great and waters it down like nobody's business. And
Yes.
I'll get
There
into
was
that
a
more.
cartoon also, apparently. There was a cartoon of Robocop. And the
Yeah.
thing about the first one that really got to me, it's such a satirical film. And it's just, I mean, the first scene when they're introducing the first model of the Walker robot, and it's just the guy.
Ed 209.
Oh my god, the dude
and
just
that-
gets shot to...
Oh, Jesus, it's so
Oh,
awesome.
God. There's
But
just
like,
me
they
say,
kind of do that again in 2. They do
There's
something
just-
really similar in 2 when they're showing like the Robocop 2, and like the one guy just pulls out
Pulls
the
off
gun
his
and
mask.
starts. No, not that guy. The guy that pulls out the gun and just starts shooting around the building, and then shoots the scientist that created him, and then shoots himself in the head.
Yeah.
And the second
No,
was
one,
my
great.
favorite is the one who pulls off his helmet into like a scary skeleton. He's like, ah, and then he puts it back on and he dies.
And actually, let me get to my favorite character. It's the only one. It's one of the 2 characters that I know made it through all 3 movies. The Black Executive Johnson.
Yeah.
Greatest character in the whole damn series, because like that scene I was just talking about where the one Robocop pulls out the gun. Oh my god, he just gets down and he totally does the thing that all black people would do in that situation. He just leaves without saying anything.
Yeah.
It's just all like, oh, it was great. He's my favorite character because he's the only one that knows what he's talking about throughout the whole series.
dude,
He always
and the
knows whose side
guy
to be on.
gets shot. The guy who gets shot up. The meat just he gets shot up. There's just meat, bone, freaking face everywhere, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, check his pulse. Is he okay? You saw?
my God.
He's dead!
He's dead. His heart is like over there on that wall." And the old guy is like,
That's
like,
what the robot's called, by the way, Ed 209. And just
let me finish. Let me finish.
Sure.
And the guy, the old executive dude, he just goes like, "Oh," and he doesn't get pissed because that dude died. And he goes, "Oh, this is like gonna be a PR nightmare." Like,
yeah, that's all he thinks about. I love that guy.
Not to get political, but I love the 80s for portraying corporations for what they really are: heartless, soulless, cruel, monstrous, parasitic organisms that suck up the souls of mankind and shit out pain and despair.
Okay, Microsoft, you know all that they're doing for world hunger, and
Yes, But
All the charities that Bill Gates donates to.
yeah, but Bill Gates.
Biggest corporation
They're
in the
all for
world.
PR, man.
Not to
Marks.
completely, Milan, not to completely contradict you, but to completely contradict you, Microsoft helping save the world. Just throwing that one out there.
Well,
Rob.
to bring us back to
Rob.
the commentary of the films, I mean, the whole idea is that's what Omnicorp is saying what they're doing. We're saving Detroit, but really they're making it worse because they're just festering the crime. And they're saying that's the thing they're trying to destroy, but it's like you're feeding off of it and using it to your advantage. So it's a really interesting contradiction that, happily, the whole trilogy carries that through each film and develops it.
See, something that I thought was really interesting with that is their end goal. Like, if everybody just said, okay, fine, we're gonna let you do what you're gonna do and we're not gonna put up any fight to it, which they don't do, obviously, and that's the big point of the third film. If everyone were to just, like, let the corporation come in, move them out of their homes, and then move back into the housing that they could afford in the new Delta City, which is the argument that they wouldn't be able to, but obviously they'd have to let them be able to, otherwise they couldn't move them out. If everyone had just let them do their thing, they would have built a great city, no more crime. You know, it'd been awesome. But because
the thing is,
no, Milan, let me finish. Because the people resisted, they went to these extreme lengths to make it happen. And of course the people are going to resist because this isn't a perfect world.
Dude,
so they had to go to these crazy lengths to make it happen, and then that's what led to just the horrible evil. So it's like one of those things where you see the rules bend, and you realize that there's that very thin line between bending and just snapping.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Dude, have you seen the first movie when the guy in the glasses comes to visit the second in command? Red Foreman,
right
and
there.
when he's just about to leave, the second in command goes, well, you know, we're building a new city, you know, a fresh new virgin territory for a crime lord.
Yeah, but
such
that
as
guy was
yourself."
corrupt. He was obviously not what the company was trying to do.
Yeah, true. Because the interesting thing about the first one is that the big, high-up old guy who's fucking scary as shit, he's the guy
He's a good person in the first movie. He is clearly a good guy.
As good as an exec can get. I mean, he
Yeah,
still
yeah.
obviously cares about the bottom line more than he cares about, like, people's lives, but at least he's not the asshole that he is in the second one, but...
Yeah, definitely. No, I found it interesting that the corporation's end game was quite admirable. It's just they got to the point where they're like, well, the ends justify the means. And by the third movie, it was just ridiculous. You know, you were looking at the scenes where it's like, killed during escape from rehabilitation. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
The thing about
How
the
did
second...
they get away with that?
There you go.
They basically
Anyway,
own the city. I mean, they make the mayor look
They
like
built
he's
the
lower
city.
than them.
They built the city. They are the things behind the
Did
city.
they build it on rock and roll?
Yes, Anyway,
You
the thing
joke,
about the
everybody
second...
laugh or die!
Ha ha ha. Anyway, the second movie. The thing that people always bring up about the second movie, the thing that always gets people pissed off is that they say like, oh, it's too cartoony, and they say it looks too much like feels too much like a comic book, and the thing about the first one, it was more, there was a certain level of grime, the 80s style of grime action movie where there was like, you know, giant robots are fighting and still there's like the grime and the street life. It goes together so
in the
well.
first movie, your villain is Red Foreman. And
That,
Yeah.
seriously, I have never been, like, I never got why Red Foreman was so scary in that 70s show. Now I get why he was that scary.
Yeah.
I never, like I said, I'd never seen it, but I'd seen that 70s show. I'm like, why do they always act like he's this scary? His lines are never really that scary. But now that you see that he was the guy that killed Robocop and shit, you're like, fuck me sideways.
Well, let me
Like,
just take this.
he's the same guy, the guy from the old guy from the 70s show, and Red Foreman are the same guy. The Red Foreman just
Yeah.
actually survived when it started a family somewhere.
All right,
Actually, that's something Phil and I like to joke about. So, like, you know, I always make fun of him because I'm like, you know, Batman, he kills Terminators and also business executives in the 80s. Whereas Iron Man sucks dick for coke. We always pick, like, this actor, since they're the actor in two different things, we mix the things they do, and that's all part of that character's history now. So since Robert Downey Jr. was in the movie Less Than Zero, Iron Man sucked dick for coke.
And thus Red Foreman killed Robocop. Oh, all right. Well,
Sorry.
I was gonna go somewhere with what I was saying, but now I completely forgot. But
Okay,
Sorry, Bill.
let me
no,
say
no,
something.
it's fine. That was hilarious. I'm totally okay with it because it was worth.
Let me just say something. The thing that people
Oh
have to
no, wait! I know where I was going with. If you don't mind, before I forget again, just sorry.
Go
Hang
ahead,
on.
Bill.
I
Go ahead.
gotta
Go
say this. Where I was going with that was you've got Red Foreman as your villain in RoboCop 1. Scary, but not exactly fantastic. Second movie, sure, the executive and that scary bitch are kind of the villains, but the main villain on the box is Kane. You know, the big scary robot guy who's, you know, as the film calls him, RoboCop 2.
Or Robocop.
And then in 3, it's this over-the-top merc who sounds like Roddy McDowell. You know, and it's all these over-the-top mercenaries wearing body armor. It's like there's a clear distinction between the second and third film and the first film.
What about the android?
It's just a giant dude.
Ed 209, fair enough. But
No,
like,
no,
that's,
not Ed 209. The android
robot.
in 3.
Yeah.
The robot.
Oh God, I want to get to him because he is one of the biggest letdowns in that trilogy, and that's saying a lot for 3.
Robot ninjas. You could have had robot ninjas in number 3. That would have saved the film. But
And then
no.
The thing is, like, you did, like, alright. So they have the first fight. Let's skip around the trilogy, fuck it. They have the first fight between RoboCop and the Ninja, and RoboCop's getting his ass handed to him. You know, he can't even stand up by the time that fight's over. And he wins by sheer luck, alright? And, like, the thing dies really easily, but okay, whatever.
Gets shot in the head.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good, like, when it gets shot in the head, I was really disappointed. But then I thought, oh, when they bring him back later, oh, that's so great. He's like he's like the T-2000.
Yeah.
He regenerates. And then you see another one, I'm like, okay, well, that's even better. There are thousands, there are more of them. Now we get a really cool RoboCop fight, because now he's had experience, and now he can use the jetpack. And then they just kill each other because the girl hacks him with the stupid laptop.
By the way, did it take you guys the whole movie to figure out that was a girl?
No.
No.
I was bouncing back and forth the whole movie, then someone said it, I'm like, oh, did not guess that myself.
No, like, it's just,
fair.
that would have been so interesting if, like, he died easily the first time, but then in the second time you see him, it was like a really epic, awesome battle that
Yeah.
RoboCop actually stands a chance now, but the ninja's even better this time. That would have been so cool, but no, it's just, the thing died so easily.
Yeah, and the really disappointing thing is that he has an epic introduction. Like, they open up doors, and it opens up to, like, this forest room where he's sitting, looking, like, in meditation. And then what does he do in the movie? Nothing.
He just walks around. He does exactly what the T-2000 did. That's what's so annoying, is this was such a ripoff of Terminator 2. He just walks around the whole movie, and, like, that was the first half hour of Terminator 2. That's all the T-2000 did. Just
Yeah.
walk around and ask questions.
Yeah, but the ninja doesn't even do that. He walks around, looks epic, smokes in a room, steals a map, sends other people to do the killing. Even though that's what he's built for. Fights RoboCop, dies, fights RoboCop again, and then dies twice.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid.
You don't
If
see
you-
one character die 3 times in very many movies. I'll
No,
give you.
not at all. It's hilarious.
Oh my god. If he looked
may I
like a
just say-
robot, that would be better. If he actually looked like a robot,
No,
he
but
died. He looked human the first time.
Did anyone
he
else
died.
think it was interesting that the Japanese are the ones with the obviously most advanced robot?
No, that was
No.
definitely on purpose.
No,
Indeed.
I thought that was really quite clever racism.
Oh, and that's funny because this is the same year Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 came out.
Yeah. Obviously,
I thought it was interesting that the Japanese are the ones with the most advanced robot. I thought that was great racism.
Yeah, I thought that was nice.
damn smart chinks with their smartiness.
No, it's Japs. There's a difference between Jap and Chink, dumbass.
Oh yeah, okay.
And Ian just lost 10 of his subscribers.
No. Watch. Bitch, cunt, pussy, nigga, rat. Bitch, cunt, pussy, nigga, beaner, wetback, chink, Jap, kraut eater, Rusky, Frenchie. God, what else is there? Anyone think of any more racial slurs? Reds,
Indians is kind of considered racist nowadays.
Injuns. Indian giver.
calls
I
to
love
one
the
of the-
term Indian giver because here's what Indian giver means. Bill, I give you my pencil. You take my pencil and say, hey, give me that back. And you're like, you're an Indian giver. But here's the thing. Here's what happened. Is we came over and we're like, hey, I'll give you this bag of beads for all this land. Like, seriously, the Grand Canyon was sold for like 13 pieces of silver. So they bought the Grand Canyon from the Indians for 13 pieces of silver. And like, then later the Indians are like, well, you gotta give us that back. And then we're like, Indian giver? Thing is, they didn't know what ownership was. They just lived there. They had no conception of supply and demand and economics.
Yeah,
so
it's
that's
like,
just
this
such
is
a
where we were
shitty
born.
term. Oh,
Yeah.
you're an Indian giver. We didn't know we didn't know you could own land.
Yes.
Okay, so
Back to RoboCop.
Yeah, back to that. The thing about RoboCop 2 is that, well, people say it's overly cartoony, and the city seems a little bit too almost cartoonishly criminally infested from compared
That's
to
what
the
makes
first
it
one.
awesome.
Yes, it does, but the thing is, the first one you thought like, hey, RoboCop, he never sleeps, he never eats, he's a constant 24-hour cop kicking ass machine of robotness. But the second one, it's just like, well, this new drug seems to be turning everyone into a criminal, and nuke, and there's a cult surrounding.
I
this,
did love that opening scene where everybody's committing a crime to get some news.
Yeah.
Well, also
Yeah,
the cool
I
thing
love
I
that.
found was that the police are on strike, so that's why everyone's doing it, because there's no one to stop them except RoboCop.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
And by the way, one of the disappointing things about 2, and I'll get to this with 3 too, is that the thing about 2 is that it has Peter Weller's playing RoboCop with the epic voice, but it doesn't have the epic music to back it. It's a different guy doing the music. And then and that point where he shows up out of the fire is disappointing because it's this crappy generic trumpet cue, and it's not the epic theme. And it's an epic shot with Peter Weller's voice. And then you go to 3, and it's a shitty voice, not voiced by Peter Weller's, but you've got the epic music score. And it's just so disappointing, because there's a lot of epic moments in 3 that are ruined by that guy's voice.
You know what, Bill? I'm pretty sure if you looked hard enough, you could find a fan edit where someone took the time to replace the themes in RoboCop 2.
Yeah, and then I would have no
wherever
reason
they
to watch
could.
3.
Back to the flaming car. Isn't that just the coolest fucking shot? They blow it up. What the fuck is an anti-tank missile doing in a gun shop?
Because it's fucking Detroit. That's all the answer you need.
It's like this giant fucking thing. It's like takes 2 guys to lift the fucking
What is
it's
it
just
called? Javelin. It's a javelin.
Oh my.
that was
it's
cool.
an anti-fucking tank missile. And what the fuck is? Oh my god! And he just has it just out in the open.
Yeah, he just has it. It's not even in a safe or anything. The scene that I thought was really interesting, it's right before he shows up in RoboCop 2. I thought it was really, really interesting that the guy, just to show you how bad the crime is in this city, they've blown up the building to get inside this gun store, and the owner is there on the ground. He's obviously, badly injured. He's not stopping anybody. He's not trying to stop anybody. The guy's going through looking for the bullets to the gun he's stealing.
And he asks,
Milan, shut the fuck up.
Okay, fine, shut up. Jesus Christ.
No, you do this every time.
Say, come on, just talk.
Anyway, so he asked the guy for the bullet. They're like, where are the bullets for this gun? And he tells him, and then he's like, now just leave, just take it and leave. And then he shoots him in the head. He had no reason to kill this man whatsoever. He wasn't going to be able to identify him. He wasn't going to be able to stop him. There was nothing he could do.
Aside from the fact there was an RPG in his shop, no.
No, I mean, he was there on the ground. He was obviously injured.
Fair enough.
He was probably paralyzed for the rest of his life.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
But here's the scene that sold it for me.
And he just gets out of the flaming car. I love that.
Yeah, that's BA, but just without the music score, it's ruined. Halfway ruined. Well, let me just say this: the thing that sold that idea for me, Ian, was later on when the coach with the Little League robs the technology store.
That was
Coach literally gets his Little League team to rob a technology store and beat the shit out of the owner, and then the coach draws a gun on Robocop with no hesitation. That takes some fucking balls and some establishment of that.
That was interesting. What I found that this one, and it was carried on into 3, it had that Clockwork Orange kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
With, like,
definitely.
with youth. Did you ever see Clockwork Orange, Bill?
No, but I know the ideas of it.
Well, like, the main theme of Clockwork Orange is that youth are naturally rebellious, and it doesn't matter how violent what they're into is, they always grow out of it. And Robocop 2 definitely have that, because, I mean, just, it's a lot of kids doing all these terrible things throughout all 3 movies. I mean, they get younger and younger as the movies go on.
Yeah,
or, well,
God.
not
The second one,
not as they go on, but like the splatterpunks, whatever they call them. Those kids were obviously, teenagers, or what the film portrayed as teenagers.
I mean, you've got like a 12-year-old running a drug corporation.
Yeah, I just found that very interesting that they copied that, rebellious youth feeling, and the environment dictates how rebellious they get. And, like, that was taken to the extreme in Robocop 2, while Robocop was being taken to the extreme. Didn't anyone else find that interesting, that when Robocop was the least effective was when crime was the worst?
Yeah,
and it wasn't a cause and relationship thing. It's not like people knew Robocop wasn't very effective right now, so they did worse things. It's that it just happened that way. I found that so weird.
I didn't get that, but here's the thing.
Well, it's not like anyone really knew. I mean, they knew that he was, taken out for a little while, but, like, the crime got significantly worse. Like, just the crimes they were showing were really, really bad. Like, epitomized in, of course, the kids destroying the technology store. Mm-hmm. But just, just things got...
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, definitely.
When he was going to be the least effective is when the crimes were the worst.
The funny thing is that at the same time they're trying to find something to replace him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
And I wanted to say this quick relating to that point.
Yeah, and
did you guys get the
Sorry,
feeling? Sure, go ahead.
And yes, to replace Robocop, get the leader of the cult that started this whole freaking drug craze in the first place, because that makes sense in the best possible 80s supervillain way ever.
Yeah, that bugged the crap out of me. It was such a stupid... Like, it was interesting. Like, it was cool that Kane was in a robot thing, but it was just such a stupid, like, plan. Like, everybody knew he was going to be the big villain fight. Like, there was no... It was so obvious. It was like, what was the point of that?
Well, true. I thought it would have been interesting, and I remember this being in the movie for some reason, and it's not, that the girl had, like, a strange, loving fascination with him, and that's why he picked his brain. It's kind of poked at. It's not nearly brought up enough where it's a clever idea. But I remember
that would have been okay if she would have been able to finagle it, like, get his brain instead of, like, someone else they approved.
Exactly. But at least they try to explain it, though, and it's kind of a cool explanation that, like, that's the only kind of brain that could take the strain of coming back from the dead. So I thought that was interesting. Again, it's not nearly developed enough. I blame it on the fact that Frank Miller's original script was butchered for Robocop 2. And that's why there's a lot of clunky story elements. This will bring me to the point I was going to make earlier regarding Ian's point about Robocop being, that kind of plot contrivance. Is that Robocop really doesn't have a lot of screen time in the movies. Mm-hmm. He's very much so in the background for a lot of them.
The thing
he doesn't show up for like the first half hour of all 3 movies, does he?
The thing that I really love about the first movie is the epic 80s reveal. You see when he becomes Robocop, you only see things from his perspective, like brief moments of, his construction, like lose the arm, replace it with a robot badass.
Oh my god, I love that scene.
Yeah,
and then lose the arm.
And then it's just like, oh my god. And when he walks in and like you only get like brief glimpses of him, and then when he comes out, when you finally see him, and the music starts, and it's just like, oh yeah, that's a robot police officer with a gun.
All right, Bill, make your point, and then I have a question for you.
Sure. Well, what I was just gonna say is that Oh, I was gonna say that RoboCop really doesn't have a lot to do with the plot of each movie, and this leads me to the thing that, especially in 2, despite my loving of it, they've got really clunky narratives pacing-wise. Now, the first movie's fine because there's not really a lot complex going on in the story. This is a problem in the second film, that there's just too much going on. And then this leads to a plot element that you would consider being either at the end of the second act of a movie or like the main driving force of a movie, and that is RoboCop being turned into a pussy. And
it's just kind of there. It's like a mini act.
Yeah, it's like in the middle of the movie and they end it in less than 15 minutes. It's really clunky.
But it's a great scene. I just thank you for not smoking. Oh,
yeah, it's awesome, but it's really clunky. And
I was talking to Bobby about that tonight. I was like, Bobby, if that happened to you, you would never smoke again in your entire life. He's like, that's not true at all. That would make me smoke more. I was like, really? You would be able to have a cigarette and not be afraid of getting shot at?
RoboCop, nonetheless.
Well, I wouldn't smoke for like 10 years, but then I'd chain smoke because I'd be able to get over it in therapy.
That's kind of my overarching problem with the films, is that RoboCop is not involved enough in each plot.
Okay, now let me ask you something about the first movie, Bill.
Sure.
I thought it was really interesting, and I don't know if they did this on purpose or not, because I'm not sure where the technology was at the time. I thought it was really interesting that RoboCop beats Ed 209 because Ed can't walk down the stairs.
I thought that was hilarious, because it's kind of an interesting reference to, like, you know, I don't know if you guys know this, but cows cannot walk downstairs.
Well, no, that's not it at all. I mean, the thing that, like, you go over to Japan right now, you go over to the Honda Corporation in Japan, where they've got the best top-of-the-line humanoid robot, and they always have it displayed, you can see videos of it, walking up and down stairs, and it falls down constantly. It is like the hardest thing that a robot can do is walk up and down stairs. And it took so interesting that that actually happened in the movie. That's how you beat, like, seriously, robot apocalypse happens, safest place to be is a stairwell.
Yep, in a basement, nonetheless. That was definitely awesome.
So interesting that's how he beat the thing. Like, as a Monster Fight fan, were you disappointed by that being the way that the monster was, like, the monster of the movie was defeated?
A little bit, because it was not much of a fight, and that's kind of what I wanted out of a movie called RoboCop, was a really cool robotic fight. I was satisfied because we got one at the end of 2, and it's really awesome. And if you don't mind, I'd kind of like to go into the effects just a little bit.
Oh, definitely. I'm interested in that. Did you do any research on how they did the face prosthetic part?
I didn't. I didn't, because what surprised me was that in the third movie, they used, Ian, me and you were talking about this earlier, they clearly used Peter Weller's face, but it's definitely not him performing as RoboCop because the voice is different and he's not on the box. So they must have done something where it was like the prosthetic face of Peter Weller was over the normal RoboCop piece, but it must have been the actor Robert Burke wearing that face as RoboCop. So I find that really interesting.
Well, that I'm not so much interested in, is how they achieved, you know, his face, but then it was clearly metal. It wasn't like a mask that he was wearing. So I'm really interested is how they cut into his face, into Peter Weller's face in the first 2 movies in those scenes with him, because that looked so good to me.
It did.
What they did was basically they took the edges around his face and they kind of overlaid a very, very, very thin mask over Peter's face, and just it got a little bit more thicker around the edges of his face, and then that they just you know added on the metal effects in the stretchy bits.
Interesting.
Well, I imagine they did it like they did what's his name? Jack Pierce did the old Universal monsters. Is that you gradually reduce, layers. You gradually reduce and increase the amounts of makeup depending on what you want the thing to look like. With Frankenstein, they increased the makeup. With the Wolfman, they decreased it as you went, like, from highest makeup to lowest makeup. So I'd imagine that's how they did it, because I wish I did research. I meant to, I just kind of didn't get to it. But really, the
And,
thing that I thought was the coolest was that Ed 209 and the Kane robot are the coolest stop motion things I have ever seen in the 80s.
So it's stop
Yeah.
motion with miniatures and blue screen, I'm guessing?
Yes.
yeah.
That's what I thought, because I could tell it was early chroma key work along the same levels as Superman. Definitely a lower budget than Superman had, at least the first
No,
film.
oh no,
But
definitely.
still, it looked fantastic though.
And
I
that's,
mean, it looked pretty good. I mean, it's a little clunky in the motion. I mean, the stop motion could have been a little smoother, but I was still
Definitely.
fairly impressed with it.
well, the thing that I
Yeah.
like is that it makes them look very robotic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will say that. I'm just saying, like, that not in the movements of, like, the arms and stuff, just, like, in the sweeping motions.
Yeah.
It looked a little clunky there to me.
The stuff they did in Terminator earlier in the 80s was definitely better. Like the ending.
Yeah, and here's the thing that I actually found interesting, but they were really bold with how they did stop motion, because they did, like, a lot of between the leg shots and a lot of, like, through different parts of the robot shots.
Yeah.
Which I thought was incredibly bold to do, especially with a stop motion effect, because usually you would never see that.
I thought it was
Editing was
quite
really
impressed
good.
with
The editing was really what saved it. It was just edited wonderfully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was all put
Definitely.
together to be sure. The thing in the second movie that I was impressed with was that they have a really dynamic fight between RoboCop and Kane. And
Yeah.
The scene that impressed
Coming with me, Kane.
Yeah, the scene that,
Dead or alive.
yeah, that's RoboCop's catchphrase. That's his "I'll be back."
Yep.
No,
And
you're coming with me, dead or alive.
Yep. And the scene that impressed me was when RoboCop was on a ledge and Kane is below him and he jumps on top of him after he takes the nuke. And then there's this great effect of him Kane throwing RoboCop around. I mean, it's clearly stop motion, but it looks awesome.
Oh yeah, that was
yeah,
really well done.
yeah. It
I
was
mean,
really
for the
good.
time, that was fantastic. The
Yeah.
thing is, like, my mom was talking about last week I was watching Superman, and my mom decided to watch it with me, and she's just sitting there talking about the flying scene with Superman and Lois, and it's like, oh man, that looked amazing for the time, and I go, yeah, but as a filmmaker, it kind of ruins it for me, because I can go down to the basement right now, and if I had a wire team, I could totally do that.
Yep. Yeah, that's the thing.
It's one of those things, like, as a filmmaker, as someone that's actually worked with chroma key and miniatures to a point, miniatures I have the least amount of experience on, but I've still done miniatures. I started out doing miniatures with the old Lego films, and I know how all of that is done.
Yeah.
So I gotta,
But that
like,
doesn't
I can
ruin it for
kinda
me. That
see
just
it doesn't ruin it. It just, like, it takes it away. Like, it takes away. It takes away.
It takes away from the magic.
No, it takes
takes
away
away.
my suspension of disbelief.
Mm.
I cannot say, oh, this is actually happening on any level, because I know exactly what they're doing.
I guess
I
that
can
it's
see
similar
that.
with me with comic book. It's similar with me in comic book art, because when you look at a comic book artist and you see, like, oh wow, look, I get what he did there. It's just it's really hard to separate the fellow artist critiquing the art of a superior to just a fan reading the thing or watching
Yeah.
the movie or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally don't have that, though, because I have the opposite thing. I benefit from that, because I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm closer to the movie.
I mean, I can still be impressed by it. I can still be visually wowed by how they did it. I just cannot get. It's a story level to me, not an effects level. Like, it affects the story for me because it takes me out of it a little bit as a filmmaker, because I know how that effect's done. So I'm thinking about how they did that,
And it's
not
almost
getting involved in what's going on in the story.
yeah, and it's almost like a masterly thing. It's like, oh wow, I like what they did there. They got the effect across wonderfully. And when it's a good film, and you always critique something when it's a little bit and it's like, oh, they could have done that better, or they could have done that better. And it's really hard to turn off that inner critic in your head if you know what the hell how they did those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
And it doesn't take away from the film overall. I'm still very impressed. with
No,
what
it's
it did,
still a
especially at the
wonderful
time.
film.
I'm just saying, like, for me as a filmmaker, it definitely takes me out of it, at least temporarily.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still pretty fucking awesome though.
Oh, definitely.
It's kind of a tragedy of people like us who are so close to the way things are done in film, in that it's like we can rarely go to a movie and say, wow, that looks like it's actually happening, because we know
Yeah.
exactly how it was done, because we follow movies productions before they're made. We look up documentaries on how things were done. We critique things to see how they were done. It's kind of a tragedy.
Well,
Yes.
see, that's why, for me, and Milan's quite familiar with this, I didn't see anything on Dark Knight Returns or The Avengers before it came out.
Dark
and
Knight
I was
Rises.
Yeah, thank you. Dark Knight Rises before The Avengers before they came out. And I was visually wowed, and I was able to get so much more into it because I didn't watch any of the documentaries or any of the
Me
trailers
neither,
or
no.
anything.
I
And
watched the-
Milan and I did a video a couple weeks before Dark Knight Rises came out where he spoiled something for me, and I ended the video right there because he pissed me the fuck off. Because I'd
And
gone
it wasn't
2
something
years
big.
without hearing anything about it, without knowing anything about it, and bam, major visual effect ruined for me. Thanks,
Yeah,
Milan.
and it wasn't really a big thing. It was just the first 2 seconds of the trailer of the bridges going out. And I just like, you haven't seen the trailers? And it
No,
was
I
just like,
told you that! Literally, I said that right before we started
Okay, I'm
recording.
sorry, alright? Okay, you've seen the movie. Relax, let
Guys,
it go.
get a fucking room.
Let it go, dude.
No,
Let
it pisses me off because he's not sorry. He's not
I am.
sorry. No, if you're
I am.
sorry, you don't try to justify yourself, bitch!
Well, listen, I'm not a marriage counselor, so I'm gonna recommend you guys to a friend of mine.
Thanks, Bill. You have no idea, man. You have no idea how he gets sometimes. Oh my god.
Is he abusive, Milan? Does he hit you?
Yes. No, seriously, if I could hit Milan, I would hit Milan constantly. And I wouldn't even feel bad. Like, I'd hit him with a sack of oranges just so I
Oh
wouldn't
my
feel
god.
blips.
Wow, you guys need help. I'm gonna recommend you to someone else.
Yeah, and he's like, hit him with a sack of oranges. There won't be any bruises left. Thanks, you.
He'll be one giant bruise. No one will know the difference.
No, the thing, if you hit a girl with orange, if you hit somebody with oranges, the oranges, it would hurt like hell, but the oranges would take some of the blows, so you won't get, you'll feel like hell, but you won't bruise.
I'm not
So
gonna
if you want-
ask how you know this, but I'm
Family Guy.
just gonna accept the information and move on.
I quoted from Family Guy. I'm not even ashamed of it. Because they got some great lines every now and again.
Okay, Robo, say your line, and then let's move on to Robocop.
That's it.
Okay. I dig the scene where they got those automatic freaking tank rifle things, whatever the fuck they are, and they just go completely nuts and start blowing shit up.
I know, it was so cool.
It's like, oh my god! It's like, oh my god! It's how great is it to be in RoboCop Detroit? It's like you're walking down the street and it's like some guy hands you like an automatic tank missile thing, or just go into a liquor store gun shop. Oh, I would like one of those. Just shoot the guy and steal like freaking a rocket launcher, and just there's no cops.
I'm just imagining like us three driving down the cities of this. I think the film in production things have said it takes place in 1997. I'm just imagining us driving through 1997 Detroit in the RoboCop universe. We're driving one of those SUXs, and one of us is just like, "Hey,
Make it
guys-
8.2 miles per gallon." I thought that was funny as shit.
yeah." And it's like, "Hey, you guys hungry?" Yeah, we're hungry. Do you guys have any money? Nope. And it's like, oh, no problem. I gotta make a withdrawal. Pull out a fucking Uzi and literally just go up to the bank and go, you know what to do. Yeah. Dumps like a gold brick inside our car. We drive to like their version of McDonald's.
Actually, this is a good place to transition to something I wanted to talk about. So they're doing a remake of RoboCop.
Don't go there.
No. Here's what I thought. It occurred to me, instead of a remake, since it's already in the future, they should have just continued it in the continuity.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think they should have called the movie RoboCop Reborn, and the logo should have been Law Enforcement Gets an Upgrade, and it should have been the next RoboCop. Like they should have explained Alex Murphy died or something, or he got outdated or something, or his energy cell got depleted. Now here's the next RoboCop.
See, no, I don't agree with that. I think it should have just been Murphy again. You could have gotten Wells back, because what's he done in the last couple of years?
Batman.
Besides an episode of Psych.
Dude,
and-
still recording?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Besides an episode of Psych. And, it occurs to me, you could have either gotten him back, or just gotten someone else like they did in 3, and matched the voice better for Bill there.
Please, I beg of you.
Well, no, it's just, it occurs to me, you could have just done it in the same continuity, because you don't need any of the same cast, because the point was, he's immortal. They brought that up several times.
Yep, I agree.
He's immortal now. And it would have been so interesting, because you could have done it decades in the future. You could have done Bicentennial Man with it, where it's just, no one he ever knew is alive anymore.
Yep.
Ooh.
That would have been so interesting.
That definitely
Yeah.
would have been.
God.
And actually, let me take it back. I'm sorry to jump around so much, but a theme I really liked, and at first I felt like they dropped it, but then I realized you can go one of two ways with it. In the first movie, they kind of explore that he's not really sure if he's a man or a machine. And they definitely carry that theme over into the second movie, but they drop it really early on, where he meets his wife again, and he says, "Touch my face." And this was also a really good way to wrap up a major plot hole. Touch my face, and she goes, "It's cold," and he's like, "It's a prosthetic. They put this on here to honor him. Your husband's dead." I thought that was really interesting. One, because it covered why does no one just shoot him in the mouth?
Yep.
And why does his skin doesn't just get burned off, blah, blah, blah. That was a really good way to cover that. Milan, hold on.
Sorry.
Hold on.
Shut your face.
Hold on.
Not talking.
Anyway, that was a really interesting way to cover up that plot hole. But also, I thought it was good because, I mean, one, you could say, well, they just wanted to tie up the plot from the first movie. Or you can make the argument that it's the hero's sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and say that it was the hero's sacrifice.
Oh, I think
that he decided not to like have contact with his wife, because his wife definitely showed interest in having contact with him at that point. You know, she definitely really wanted it to be him still.
Yeah.
And he decided it's not worth it. It's I as a hero now, I am a hero to these people, and I have to make this sacrifice.
The thing
that
about
sacrifice was
on
his
that
life.
similar theme.
Like he'd sacrificed his physical life already, but he didn't choose that sacrifice. This was his choice now, and that really affirmed him as a hero.
Yeah. The thing you actually see that in the first movie, visually. I mean, you see the evolution of Robocop. At the first, you know, when he starts up, he's like all robotic, and at the end, when he gets all fucked up by the police, and I love that scene when he takes off his helmet, you know, with the screwdriver, and you see his face for the first time.
It's such an epic, tragic.
Let me finish. Let me. I know it's so, and you can see like some of his armor's missing, and he's fixing up his leg, and he's moving more like a human now. And he takes off his helmet, and it's just such a sad moment. It's just he's him beaten back, broken, just that tragic, broken humanity revealed underneath that eggshell of a helmet thing. And then he goes to fight the villains with the freaking tank missiles, and he moves. You can see he moves a little bit more like a human now. He still moves like a robot, but in his movements they're a little bit more fluid-like. And it's such a. I just love that scene, just like that when he's sitting there with his partner. It's just. Oh, it's so sad. I love Robocop.
Definitely, I thought that was really well done too. I thought it was great on the part of the actor, because you know that was a part of his performance too.
Oh, his face.
Weller
he's just amazing.
Yeah. And I'd like to go back to a point that Ian was making about whether or not he is actually Alex Murphy. And it's definitely the thing that disappointed me about 2, because that seemed like that was going to be the theme of 2, and it's not. Damn it. Because for about the first 45 minutes, that's the big conflict of RoboCop personally of, is he still human? What can we do with him based on that? And, you know, throughout the film, that stops becoming the theme, because he's barely in it after that. After he gets back to normal RoboCop, it's not in it anymore, and it's basically just him as a big gun going around blowing up criminals. And here's the thing that cemented it for me, that it's actually Alex Murphy. When he gets shocked, all those directives that he was given were deleted, and he was basically free of his own will.
Yeah, and says no direct. I really like that scene where he electrocutes the fuck out of himself.
And then here's the stupid thing. Here's the problem. In 3, one of the big things is the prime directives. And I'm just like, he got rid of those in the last movie.
Yeah, that was dumb. I agree.
Because I'm like, no, you did not fuck that over. That was awesome in 2. And then in 3, it's just like, no, that's all back.
I really like the use of the directives. Like the one thing that was good about the directives, like obviously if the software if OCP was in there, and saw that he didn't have directives anymore. Like here's to justify it, Bill. Obviously if they saw he didn't have directives anymore, they'd put them back in.
Yeah.
What I really liked about it, was that point where that philosophical point that it made of sometimes what the law says is not what the right thing to do is. And that scene in the church where he's watching the cops, quote unquote cops, get ready to massacre children and homeless people was so well done, because you see it from his perspective and you see it list his directives and it says uphold the law, protect the innocent.
And there's a conflict.
Yeah,
that was well done.
Yeah, and then you see the one, do not shoot at or do not disobey OCP officers or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's do not disobey direct orders from OCP. And he sits there and it goes, deleted. I love that. That was so well done.
No, that's later.
Well, no,
that's later when that gets deleted. In that scene, it's still there, because he doesn't shoot the people. He shoots at a car that blows up.
When does it get deleted?
Later on, when he gets a new heart.
No, I swear it happens when...
No,
because
I remember
two
he
edits
gets
of this?
Huh?
No, I swear to God, it happens in that scene. When the one I watched, it happens in that scene.
I don't know, because I watched it less than an hour ago, or more than that now. And I remember it happens way later, because in that scene he doesn't shoot them. He shoots at a car that blows up because he can't shoot them.
Okay. Yeah, I know that happens. You know, you two keep talking. I'm gonna pull it up on Netflix and see.
Sure. I just wanted to
Bill,
say that I don't think 3 is a piece of shit just because it's a piece of shit.
No. Well,
I think
it is a piece of shit, but it's an okay piece of shit. It's a bearable. It's an entertaining piece of shit.
Well, beyond that, it's got great ideas. It carries things over from the first 2. It's got some of the dark ideas. It's got some really great ideas, but it completely waters them down to a point of unrecognizability for the Robocop universe.
Yeah. And have you noticed that the weaker and the more diluted the movies become? Like in the third one, the bluer Robocops become. Like I love the
that was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I noticed that.
Yeah, and it's like the first one, he's like sober and he like doesn't fuck around. The second one, I love the second one. I don't care what anybody says. The second one is great. He's a little blue, but in the third one, he's like blue, and then in the TV show, he's like, Robot-y, the Irish cop dude. Oh my god.
Oh, in the cartoon show, he looks like that robot from the Jetsons.
Yeah.
Which
and
one?
The
Jetsons took place in the future, you dumb fuck. There were a lot of robots.
The one, the Rosie.
Okay.
Dude, the
I
thing
have
about
to clarify that. I couldn't remember her name. I thought you guys would know what I was talking about. God.
No, the robot from the Jetsons. It's the future. There are a lot of robots.
Yeah, but the main one. There's none of them have any screen time.
The thing that really gets me, looking at the first movie and that fucking meat flying everywhere, gun up, like the horrible way he dies. They're just fucking bloody films, just gory fucking prostitution, fucking drugs, death, violence, just all this horrible shit, and make a cartoon out of it. And it's just like, oh, it's a Saturday morning cartoon.
And guess what doesn't surprise me?
What?
First 2 movies, clearly and distinctly rated R. Robocop 3, PG-13.
Oh my god. You know
the
what?
Robocop theme has probably the most adult theme of them all, with the anarchy and the chaos and, the Nazi, imagery that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, list of prime directives. 2, protect the innocent. I'm watching the scene right now.
Sure.
Okay.
3, uphold the law.
Okay.
Wait for it. 4, never impose an OCP officer. Shoots at their feet. Maybe you're right, Bill. I swear I thought it was in this scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he can't shoot at them. So when does he delete it then?
After he gets fixed up. he looks up and then he sees that fourth thing's been deleted.
Mm.
Oh, okay. I thought he chose to delete it himself in this scene.
No, the girl deletes it for him.
Mm.
Okay.
The only thing,
All
the
right.
only three things she keeps is the ones that police officers have in their rule book.
Mm.
Okay.
The thing
That
about
makes sense then.
the thing about the cartoon, how odd, how it's just such a weird disconnect between the films and the cartoon. It's just like, hey, little Billy, watch the Robocop movies with me. Oh my God, he's hit. He has a hole in his head. He shuts up. Now watch the cartoon. Hold on, where's all the blood go? I want the blood.
Well, it should be the other way around, actually. You should take the child from watching the cartoon to the movies. Just say you don't start out as a kid watching the Batman films. You start out with the animated series or Brave and the Bold.
No, I
show
started
the
with the
Dark
Batman.
Knight. What's
Dude,
he matched with?
I started out watching the Batman movies, and then it's like I only discovered the Batman animated series like later on in life when I got to Australia. It's like, wow, there's a cartoon. Oh wow, let me see it. Oh my God, Psycho.
Well, do they have animators in Australia?
Yes, well they do, but the thing about Russian cartoons is that they're all from the 30s and like early 60s, and they're all like propaganda pieces for the state. And like whenever they do like translations of American and like Canadian cartoons, it's just like the most monotone, bored Russian dude doing all of the voices. And he's when there's like a musical number, like in Pinocchio or something, the guy translates the song. There's like a choir. He goes like, yes, sleep, you wish upon. It's just like the most monotone, bored Russian dude voicing all of the characters, no matter what sex. Like everyone sounds the same. It's just this Russian, and there's a delay. There's there's a half a second delay, and it's like, здрасте, я Pinocchio. Ah, Papa Geppetto, no. And it's just the most freaking. Oh my God. And there's like.
See, I didn't know there was an animated RoboCop show. When I was looking on Netflix, and I didn't mention this in the video because I've been talking about it all week. When I was looking on Netflix, they have these these made-for-TV RoboCop movies.
Oh, let me explain.
And I'm gonna argue I'm gonna say without any knowledge that it's probably Sci-Fi Channel movies.
Here's the thing. There's two RoboCop animated series, both made for children. One in the 80s, one in the 90s. The first one was in '88. The second one came out right after RoboCop 3.
Okay.
Then in 1995, there was an actual ongoing TV series simply called RoboCop and was not in continuity with the films.
Okay.
And then in 2001, there was a Canadian company who had the rights from RoboCop saved from the 1995 TV show. They were about to lose them and were like, hey, let's just do a bunch of TV movies and say it's a miniseries. And that was called RoboCop Prime Directives. It was not Sci-Fi Channel. It was this Canadian company.
Okay, well, it looks like
it does.
Sci-Fi
It definitely does. I agree, but it's not. It's this Canadian. It's the same people who made the Crow TV show.
Okay. Well, anyway, here's what I found really, really annoying. Okay, so we decide we're gonna do RoboCop. I'm like, well, I wonder if I can save myself some money. I wonder if they're on Netflix. So I do a Netflix search for RoboCop, and RoboCop 1 is on Netflix, and RoboCop 2 is and RoboCop 3 is on Netflix. And the RoboCop made-for-TV films, and I use the word film loosely, are on Netflix. But RoboCop 2 is not on Netflix.
That makes no sense.
Not at all. And that's the problem with Netflix right there, is they don't have that movie you like, but they have its shitty sequel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the unknown, potentially shitty direct-to-TV movies.
I don't know. I saw those, and I was like, Bill, should we watch those also? And I was like, and I was completely joking. Should I make the process more painful and say we have to watch those too? Yeah. And Bill's like, sure, I'm down. I'm like, no, you're an idiot if you're down with that.
No, basically, I'll do anything Ian tells me to do. So.
Oh, Bill. Well, in that case,
no.
Send me $500.
Yeah, no. I'll kill you first. No. Well, since we're talking about getting the movies, I went to my local DVD store and I said I could get a cheap box set, which I did. And when I said cheap, I meant cheap.
$5.
No, it was $40. But and that's cheap to me given the fact that the first movie individually was $25.
Wow.
So
really?
yeah.
Man.
So unless RoboCop 2 is $10 and RoboCop 3 is $5, that's cheap to me. So I got the box set and it looks decent. It's called RoboBox. Clever.
Clever. I see what they did there.
Get it?
Oh.
Get it? So I open
Yeah.
up the box. It's wrapped in plastic. I open it up, and the DVDs are basically laser discs.
What?
They're not.
Oh, like where it's just like clear and it doesn't have like a printed thing on it at all?
Well, it's clear. It has the printed thing on it, but it's hard to see. But literally, it's basically just a laser disc put on a DVD. Because you open up the individual things, and it's like a record. You open it up, it's just the chapters, the disc. There's no menus, and it's just the scene selection.
Huh.
And I thought it was hilarious. And I'm gonna
Bill,
Oh.
Bill, I'm looking at it. I just looked up on Amazon. You could have gotten all 3 on Blu-ray from Amazon for $21.
I looked at my DVD store for that, but they didn't.
Oh, dude.
I asked them like, "Do you guys have Blu-rays?" They're like, "No, we have this box set from the early 2000s." I'm like, "Okay."
You
Actually, there are copies listed new for 1998, and yeah, you got swindled.
Yeah,
Great.
Yeah.
RoboCop trilogy on DVD for $21.99.
I
On
watched
Blu-ray, nonetheless.
No, there's one for DVD for cheaper, but there's one for Blu-ray for cheaper than it is on DVD. I'm just saying, not only is the Blu-ray price half what you paid, the DVD price is half what you paid.
Needless to say, I'm fuming. So you guys keep talking while I burn this.
Oh, okay. Well, I watched all 3 movies on a website called I Want to Watch This. You can watch anything you want for free. So I did.
I wish I would have known that, because how I had to watch RoboCop 2 is I downloaded it from the PlayStation Store, and if anyone follows me on Twitter, which, by the way, I'm on Twitter, Sid Part 2, big surprise there.
Mysteries.
Anyway, I was on the PlayStation Store, and it took fucking 6 hours to download.
Oh, God.
Cost me $3, 6 hours to download, and I can only watch it once.
Oh, gee,
Really?
Bullshit.
I can watch them.
Don't say gypped. Do not say gypped.
Okay.
Why?
Okay.
I know I'm the one that did all the racial slurs, but don't say gypped, because you don't know you're doing a racial slur.
Okay.
You got ripped
I
off.
watched all 3.
Thank you.
I watched all 3 in succession because this website gives you anything you want, and you can download the actual thing, but you can watch them as many times you want, for free. So.
Okay, Milan,
So now that you're done
are
sucking
you
your
getting
own dick,
paid to sponsor? Are you getting paid to sponsor them or something?
Yes, I am.
Milan, how many times did they suck your dick? I just want to know right now.
How many times they suck my dick? Oh, let's see. They got like a call girl.
I wish I could get paid in blowjobs. Like, you know that gum commercial? I wish someone would pay me in gum. I'm like that guy. I'm like, I wish someone would pay me in blowjobs.
Oh, well, they send a call girl
How much
around
would a
here,
small
like,
country cost? God.
dude, this is Australia. Like, the economy here is awesome. Like, they can literally send a post.
Yeah, sales of what? Boomerangs and didgeridoos?
Oh,
through the roof
don't
or
talk
something?
about that shit. That you'd be
And
surprised.
zoo tickets.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how much money we get from just the basic, boomerang trade. The whole world wants to buy a boomerang. And
What do you call a boomerang that doesn't come back?
a stick.
Yep.
That's not funny,
That
but
joke.
somehow is.
I love that joke. Alright, fine, Bill. Fine. We'll ask you one. Here's a riddle. What's brown and sticky?
I wonder what.
A stick.
Oh, okay. Back to
I love that joke. I love that joke.
What's brown and sticky, Ian?
some.
Not really.
You're brown.
Ian's like feeling himself. No, I'm not. I'm not sticky.
Well, I am, but only if you make me happy first, and then it takes a little bit of work.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go now.
See ya.
Oh,
No.
golly.
Hey, Bill, guess what?
What am I guessing?
I'm gonna think about you while I masturbate tonight, and there's nothing you can do about it.
All right.
Literally. Seriously. What are you gonna do about it, Bill? What are you gonna do? I got pictures and video of you on my computer.
Oh,
Not
geez.
naked, admittedly, but I have pictures and video of you on my computer.
Yeah, but
There's nothing you can do about
Ian's
it.
like a master of, like digital distortion, so he's gonna like play around with it a little bit.
Just your head.
Dude, I should totally. You know what just happened? 10422.
Oh my god. Oh.
Bill, you're getting
Oh,
photoshopped.
Jesus Christ! No, don't.
Oh my god, this is so much fun.
Oh, for once, it's not you, you piece of shit. That's
Oh,
getting...
don't worry. You'll see eventually.
And Bill's fat, so he has man titties.
Yeah.
I am
I'm gonna
not
match
fat.
Your man titties.
Oh, yes, you are. I've seen.
Bill, can you lick your man titties?
All right, I'm gonna.
Can you lick your man titties for
All right,
me?
let's go back to RoboCop. Milan, you shouldn't be talking about being fat.
Well, I'm fat and hairy, so you know. That's
Because when I saw you in video for the first time, and I looked at the pictures you drew of us, I'm like, yeah, he's a little modest with the weight thing. He takes some stuff off when he draws himself.
Yeah.
No, seriously, no lie. Like, Milan, you were always like 30 pounds light in your pictures.
Yeah, I know. That's back when I those are pretty old. They're like from, what, 3 years ago. Like,
No, I'm talking about just in the ones you drew for Geeky Gentlemen.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're about pounds light.
I know. Dude, I gotta save space on the actual image. God. I gotta be.
Yeah, I mean, no lie, your left tit could probably take up the whole screen.
Oh, yes, that is true.
Godzilla versus Milan's left tit. Oh, right one.
My left tit would win.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Probably. I'm not
there's
gonna
no, like, has Godzilla ever faced just an amorphous blob? No.
Hedera, yeah, he has.
Yes, he did, yeah.
Damn it, Bill, you weren't actually supposed to contradict me.
Well, I did, so deal with it. Now you gotta make a joke.
Okay.
Has Godzilla ever successfully defeated an enormous amorphous blob that just doesn't take any shape and just like, it's like flubber, it just bounces everything back and it like comes back stinky and smelling of Russian things?
No, not that I'm aware of. The Hedera comes close.
Yeah, this is not going, in an interesting direction. Let's talk about Robocop.
No, it is. Let's continue.
Yeah, but he was like, Ian had the opportunity to make something funny there, but he just like he stumbled and he crashed horribly face first into the concrete.
That describes this entire show.
Yeah, but in a good way. But in a good way.
Put it in a good way.
Yeah.
All right.
It's fun.
Let's wrap up on RoboCop. Then. We're over an hour now, and I like to try to keep these reviews down to about 1:15 if we can.
Okay.
So, final thoughts on the series. Anyone got any final thoughts
If you haven't
that they
seen
really
them,
get in?
I think you should watch them. I'm with Ian. They're not the greatest things in the world. I mean, they definitely have problems, particularly in the pacing of their stories. But I think that if you don't want to see a badass cop who gets murdered by Red Foreman become a cyborg and take on the corrupt crime of Detroit, you are not human. Watch these movies. Good night.
Well, we're not ending right there, so Bill, I'm sure you're gonna say something else.
Okay. I gotta say something. This series of films is the perfect excuse for awesome movie. Well, first and second are awesome. The third is but this is the perfect excuse not to make a video, a TV show based on the movies.
What?
I don't know what the fuck you just said.
No idea what you're talking.
Like, more so than
RoboCop
I
is the
don't know what the fuck you just
because
said.
if what you're saying is what I took, they did.
I know.
Well, no, like here's the thing. I rarely understand whatever the fuck comes out of Milan's mouth, but what the fuck that was, I have no clue.
Explain.
That just stumbled and crashed right there. You have no right to make fun of this show.
Okay. RoboCop, the TV show, is the best. The TV show is the best example ever given to not make a TV show based on an awesome series of movies. Okay,
that makes sense. Yes. Once you take the words and make them coherent so that to get your point, we don't have to go in your brain and become
Indiana
you.
Jones and, like, feel around walls like levers and shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you got into my brain, you cannot get out because I will not let you.
There is a lot of cheese in here.
That is so
Mitch Hedberg had, like, it's a joke that I love because I actually use it a lot because it totally works out in any context. Is just, oh man, it's not coming off as funny as I think it is, but trust me, it's hilarious. If you don't believe me, go into my brain, then come back out and tell me I'm wrong.
That's funny. It makes sense. Well, in Milan's brain, there's a lot of cheese, a lot of broken boomerangs, and a lot of dead kangaroos.
There's a lot of women that he wants to have sex with that will not happen.
Yeah.
And they all lose about 30 pounds when they go in his brain, so they're all like sticks. They're like pixie sticks and bikinis and shit.
Like, if we lose 30 pounds when going into Milan's brain, I'm pretty sure I can't go in there, otherwise I'll float away. It's kind of sad when I have to make the jokes about myself.
Yeah.
Like, you guys need to step your game up.
Oh no, we don't. You're just trying to hide it. Let's continue though.
Okay, well, my final thoughts on Robocop. As someone who has never seen these before the last week, except for, bits and clips here and there, I found them very enjoyable. I thought that 3 was nowhere near as bad as I was told it was, but definitely don't expect a great movie and don't expect it to be on the caliber of the other 2. I found that the first one was probably the best, and it definitely was great that it got a sequel, and I really enjoyed the sequels. I can't speak to anything about the television movies or the TV show, but I'm gonna guess that they're not good. If the studio that made Robocop 3 didn't say, okay, let's take another stab at this, to the point where they let TV networks get a hold of it and produce things, those probably are not going to be very good. Just saying, nothing against TV networks, but to totally say something against TV networks. But anyway, I found them very good. I found them very enjoyable. They're not the most compelling. They're not the most intellectually stimulating, but they're definitely a step above Michael Bay films.
Oh,
They definitely have a lot
yeah.
to say about social commentary and very interesting things. And something I didn't get to bring up, you definitely saw a lot of Frank Miller's visual style in
Yeah.
Definitely.
RoboCop 2 come through.
Definitely.
Especially in the very beginning when they play the video of Kane like the video that he sent in to the news,
Mhm.
like to threaten the city or whatever.
Yeah.
It's very, very similar to the mutant leader in The Dark Knight
That's
Returns.
what I was thinking. I'm like, this feels
Yeah.
very Dark Knight Returns, and in a good way.
Yeah, and that was what was so surprising.
Especially-
Like, I felt that about the first movie, and then when I saw the second, I was like, wow, this feels even more so. And then you see Frank Miller's name pop up at the end, and I was like, what? I didn't know it was Frank Miller at all.
I
That
love
was a
the
complete
ad.
surprise to me.
I love the ads. Nukem the game.
That was good. That was actually quite horrifying.
Yes.
In its own
Yes,
way.
it was.
Um,
And
I really liked the one I remember the best is the clip I've seen before I saw the movies was the sunblock ad, and I thought that was great, environmental.
Oh, I was
criticism.
dying when they're like, consistent use will lead to skin cancer.
That was great. That was such an oxymoron product. That was like something that would be sold on the Johnny Bravo show.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Remember that? The oxymoron products.
Yeah.
Those were great.
Oh, dude.
Um,
That's another thing that I really love. It's the lethal car alarm.
Oh, that was
Oh,
horrifying.
that was hilarious.
Oh my god. Oh my god. And the other thing I love the news reports when they're like, oh, and a Star Wars space satellite destroyed most of like this small country, killing trillions of people, and 2 of our former presidents, got killed in the mayhem. This is a true.
And then they just transition so smoothly.
and
into
it's
something
Just
like-
like Dark Knight Returns, and it's
It's
awesome.
it's truly a mourning day for a nation, and they mean that in their own, like, oh, 2 of our guys are dead, but who cares about all these other people? It's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right, so there's our thoughts on RoboCop. I think that really wraps everything up in a nice bow for you guys. And guess what? We'll be back next week with an idea topic, and it's my turn to suggest it. Are you two ready for what it is? Because I know you're going to laugh as soon as you hear
It's
it.
definitely
Let's
porn
hear
related.
Nope, it's not porn related.
shocked.
Are you ready?
Yep.
We're going to be discussing the ethical implications of time travel.
Awesome.